Hey fellow survivors, welcome back to Chaos Cabin and another base tour in 7 Days to Die Legacy Edition. Today's base tour is going to be in the desert right across the street from the trader, and that's because the two friends that I'm building this with, we all like to loot the trader and run the exploit. And so I figured since it's night I'd start with the above ground garden. So here you'll notice mushrooms, hops, blueberries, chrysanthemum, goldenrod, yucca, corn, and in there somewhere is the aloe plants that you can use to make medication. Off to the right there you can see the trader. We are literally that close. We are right across the street. Now up here you see the searchlights that I put in so that I can work the garden at night. That's very handy. Those searchlights were stolen from the trader. Well, when I pass this yucca, I've got to actually pick it because you can't walk through it. You can use yucca for fencing if you want to, because you can't walk through it when they're planted close together. All the other crops you can. Next time I build one of these, I'm going to make the walkway around the garden 2 blocks wide, because one just is not enough to maneuver around the garden. Now down here on the right, on the ground, you'll see my dedicated cotton garden. Here in the apocalypse, you use cotton for a wide variety of things, from repairing clothes to making splints. It will soon be daylight, so we'll go down to ground level and check the base out from that angle and then work our way back up. Well, we had to fast forward a couple of days because there's just too much undead activity in this neighborhood. It's kind of a bad neighborhood. Anyway, one of the guys is building this grandiose project. We all enjoy building as much or more than killing the zombies. I mean, that's a big part of it, is killing and building in the apocalypse. So here we are. Let's take a look at the piling where it mounts to the bottom of the river here. And this is a lot of work measuring this out so everything lines up. So it's a bit of a challenge. When this project is completed, it will span the river entirely, and we'll be able to ride our mini bikes up a ramp, across a drawbridge, across this bridge to the other side, and continue exploring the desert. Now you might notice that it went from single piling to double piling right up here, and that's because up to that point it was more practical to use concrete and cement, but that required double pilings here on the land. Once you get into the water, it's not practical to put double pilings in, so instead went to a steel girder because those will self-suspend much farther than wood or concrete. And this thing does go off to the horizon, well, off into the fog in both directions. It is one massive passion project. Here we have a subterranean garden, and you can see it's got steel trusses that support cobblestone frame plates to allow sunlight to go in. Yet the steel trusses are necessary because of how far it has to span. They're about the only thing that won't collapse. And then you can see the entrance to it right there that tunnels over to about there. Let's go take a look at that. Is that an airdrop way out there at the end of the bridge? Huh. I don't know. Alright, and that doesn't go anywhere yet. Let's go this way. And subterranean garden. Now, one of the reasons this works is because in this great old legacy version, zombies do not attack down, only forward and up a little bit. This workbench and storage chest is used for seed crafting and storage. So that bridge naturally connects to this area, which belongs to the teammate that's building that bridge. And he does pretty lavish builds, as you can see here. His apartment, I guess we could call it, includes this garden area and also this water effect here, so he has a very quick access to water. And that over there is his cotton crop. Very nice. That floor there is actually all storage. I'll show you that later. I use the same thing over on my area. And this here is more garden area for cotton. You use cotton a lot in the desert to repair clothing, to make splints, and just to sell to the trader. And got a tree growing up through here. And another tree growing up through here. Kitchen area, you got to have that. That is largely aesthetic, but not purely aesthetic, as it does provide a considerable amount of storage for food and whatever. That sign contains the block by block measurement of the different gardens over here, so you know exactly how many seeds to make. This is a common area where we all have various storage, cement mixers, forges, chem stations, and that sort of thing. Something worth mentioning, look at all the wall safes mounted in that workstation right there. Those were all snatched from the trader using the trader exploit. Of course, link below. Here's the front of my residence. We'll come back to that. This area over here belongs to the third member of our team, our newest member. He just started not long ago. That's why it's not as developed as ours. I am excited to see where he goes with this. I like the control center he's put in there. I learned right after I shot this video that over there behind the trees where I couldn't see it, he had put in a freestanding above ground garden. So might have to do a follow-up video on this. Of course, organization is key in the apocalypse. Nothing is worse than having a bunch of stuff and not being able to figure out where it is. You're always in a hurry, it seems like. So I've got those labeled boxes, and I'll keep the building materials right next to the forge and the workstation, and then I'll isolate gun parts in one box, ammunition and completed guns in another, and then food in one box, drinks in one box, and health supplies in another box. Alright guys, check out my apocalyptic resort home. This area is built out of white adobe, which in itself is not terribly strong. It's strong enough to support itself, but not go through a cop puke or detonation. But on the second level, it never has to. Those overstuffed chairs were obtained using the trader exploit. The fireplace was built using an ember bed that was acquired with the trader exploit from the burnt forest trader, and of course the bricks were made in the forge. Over here I have a wall safe that was obtained using the trader exploits. In it I keep all of my valuables. As you can see, I have no valuables. Over here is my food storage and cooking station. My food I keep in this supply box here, and you can see it's somewhat organized. I've got row of seeds, and then below that a row of health stuff. Up here is hydration products, beer, coffee, tea, water. At the bottom I have empty cans and jars, and also murky water that needs to be boiled. And also in the lower half I do have the various teas and hops and coffee to make into beverages. Here in the campfire I was making tallow to make flaming arrows and or some candles as well, if I remember correctly. I'll grab those and be on my way. Now down here on the floor, this is kind of unique. This red floor is actually cabinets that you can make under the furniture tab in the crafting menu. This is what I was showing you over there, or mentioned over there in one of the other guys' floors. You can use this for storage. So I use it right at the foot of my food storage area for rotten meat and sandwiches and moldy bread. I've filled one up and started a second. Quite a bit of storage there. Out here is a small patio, and I've got a water tank out here that kind of looks like a hot tub, but it's actually just water storage, and you can use the water exploit on this to have endless water supply. I should probably make a video about that. Yeah, I'll make a video about that. These cactus were taken from the trader across the street using the exploit. I just thought they were decorative and they'd look cool over here, so I grabbed them. Well, let's go back inside and up to the second floor. This area up here serves no real purpose other than to house my sleeping bag. But I just thought I just wanted to build something kind of cool, so I used these pillars and continued with the white adobe, put in a fireplace, put in a bed, and you'll notice that you don't see the sleeping bag right off the bat, and that is because I built it into a closet over here. That does two things. It kind of keeps it out of sight, but it also protects it in case zombies were to breach this area, which they never will on something like this. But it was a proof of concept thing for when I build a base in an existing building, because zombies will spawn in there while you're gone. It's the apocalypse, so of course everybody works from home, and there's my workstation. The red trim around the ceiling is made with chrysanthemum and wood in the crafting station under the furniture tab, I believe it is. And of course I thought a glass ceiling might be a nice touch. Notice the camouflage netting used for ceiling out here on the common area. And now for the melee room that we use mostly on Horde nights. You may notice that a lot of the concrete is damaged in the corners and at the center support poles, and that is by design. We're letting that deteriorate, and we'll replace all that with poles like everywhere else so that we can access the undead better. We've started mounting crates in the ceiling, which of course is the floor of the next level up. That way we can loot the zombies down here, put it in those crates, and when we go upstairs have quick access to it. A quick view of the trader there, and our spiked staircase. We use this X-shaped 4-ladder system so we can quickly get in and out from any angle. Let's get a street view from the ground to see what this place looks like from the outside. Trees don't really grow that well in the desert, so we had to bring these in from different biomes and go through a special procedure to get them to grow. I'll probably make a video on that. We got to get out there and get those airdrops. They've been hanging out there for days. I am forced to admit that we built this place a little too close to the trader. We should have gone a few blocks farther so we had some more cushion between us and the clang zone. Oh, what the hell is this? Why didn't I notice this before? Well, this obviously happened between the time I did the garden tour and now, which has been 2 days, so I'm guessing one too many cops blew up under this and I failed to repair it, so my fault. The first thing I notice is that all the concrete is still standing while the cobblestone areas have collapsed, and so I will certainly be going back with 100% concrete. I'm going to rebuild that, and I've got some ideas on how to do it a little differently, and then I'll do a follow-up video. I appreciate you all taking the time to watch this video. If you have any comments or suggestions, I'd love to hear it down there in the comments section. And give me a like if you can, that really helps the channel. And until next time, enjoy the apocalypse.